Hey guys, welcome back to our Royals franchise. I know it's been a while, but I'm very excited about this episode. I have a pretty solid trade idea that I feel like is going to help us a lot down the line and in the future. It's also going to help us tank a little more this season so we can get a better draft pick next year. But yeah, I was in Cooperstown for the last week. It's a pretty cool experience. It's a really cool tournament that they have there. But let's hop right into it. It is the trade deadline. We were supposed to make our deals last episode, but I found a trade that I really liked. I want Trey Mancini from the Orioles. He's a very strong hitter. He's going to be a power guy. He's going to develop even more. But I also want this guy, David Hess. Not having a great year. We'll fill in the bottom of our rotation this year, but he develops very well. It's really weird. He develops into like an 86 plus starter. We are going to send... Who was it? Carlos Asuaje. Jorge Lopez, he hasn't pitched at the big league level this year. And Trevor Oaks, who's like our a double A reliever, a triple A reliever. For this, which I know Asuaje's our starting second baseman. He's had a really strong season, probably a player I could have re-signed. But it's time. Carter Kieboom is coming to the league. It is time to make him our starting second baseman. So we're going to go through with this right now. Then I'll get back to you once our new lineup is done. Starting at AAA, a player I was really high on coming into the year, who's a rookie, Nicky Lopez. He didn't hit well. He had a low slugging. He had a low on base. 26 hits and 121 at-bats. He had 215. He's going to lead off and play shortstop at AAA. I mean, not shortstop. I'm at second base. At AAA. We threw Heath Fillmyer into the AAA rotation. He dominated at AAA, let's be real. But he was really ugly at the big league level. He needs to work on limiting his walks because he was averaging almost one every other inning. Not very strong. So at big league level, we threw David Hess into the rotation. He's got a 4.31 ERA this year. He's actually not having that horrible of a season from what you'd expect from a 70 overall. Tyler Danish is probably going to go down soon as he's walking a lot of hitters and he's allowed a lot of runs. I really am only keeping him up for the effect that I want a higher draft pick next season. Trey Mancini is just going to slot right into the 4-hole. He was having a better year offensively than O'Hearn. In 30 more at-bats, he had 9 more homers. Kieboom, he's going to slide right into the 8-hole. Elias Diaz was our all-star. He's going to be our 7-hole hitter. Brandon Phillips is going to stay in because he's been having a very strong offensive season with us. And Mondesi, I thought about trading. He's only hitting 226 this year, but he's going to get better. And I'm really liking the power numbers. They're very encouraging. And obviously, Whit Merrifield's having a great year, and Hunter Dozier really needs to get the bat back together. Wow, year one is done, and I'm really surprised. We won a lot of games in September and a lot of games in August to finish 500 at 81-81. We're still 15 games out of first, however. Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff for waivers after the trade deadline. Okay. Oh, another thing is I'm going to fire Ned Yost this offseason. I don't like the fact that he's got -2 power. I'm also going to fire this guy because he sucks. Yeah, they've got very bad coaching. We're going to go into next season with an entirely new staff almost. But let's look into the numbers. Brad Keller had a very poor second half. He had a great ERA going into the sim. Ended up losing a lot of games in the second half, and his ERA went from, I think it was like 2.7 to 3.5. Matthew Boyd had a much better second half, as his ERA was close to 5, and he finished with it close to 4. Jose Arenas, probably a piece that won't carry into with the club next season. He's a piece that we're going to deal. Jake Junis had a very promising season, going from I think a 73 to an 80, and having a 3.41 ERA in 200 innings, which I really liked to see. David Hess got his ERA down below 4 to 3.86, dropped from a 4.31. And got up to a 73 overall. Something I really like to see. Matt Grace had a very strong season as our long reliever. Piece that, even though he's 30 and only 77 overall, I could see getting back next season. Tyler Danish will never pitch another game in the big leagues again. He was horrendous. Heath Fillmeyer came up, pitched some games out of the bullpen. Wasn't much better. Tim Hill had a strong year to the pen for 75. Boxberger was terrible. James Hoyt was terrible. Lovelady was terrible. Chaz Rowe was not good. I'm going to be honest. He wasn't good with us. Sabathia got his ERA down when he came to the bullpen, even though he only pitched in 2 games out of it. Joe Jimenez saved 31 games for us down the stretch, and he's going to be back with the team next year. Now let's see the hitters. Whit Merrifield hit 272 on the year. Stole 42 bases, though. Mondesi finished with 20 homers, got his average up to 2.37, stole 27 bases. I don't know how he's getting thrown out so much, though. Hunter Dozier had a monster season. He may have only had 262, but that's a huge step up. He hit 31 homers, drove in 99 as well. I'm really loving to see the progress he's making. He's an 85 overall now. A huge piece for this team going forward. Trey Mancini finished with a 251, 30 homers, 83 RBIs. Good second half for him as well. O'Hearn, I thought he was going to be a lot more powerful. He finished with just 19 homers this year. He had 12 in 44 games the year before. Brandon Phillips definitely showed that he can still hang with the big guys this year. Played good baseball. Obviously, his fielding got really bad, unfortunately, which is why he DH'd. Elias Diaz, he has shown that he will be our catcher of the future until Franz is along, obviously. Because, I mean, he is 28, but he's an 80 overall, and he had a very productive season. He was an all-star, of course. Carter Kieboom, in 49 games, he hit 272, got on base a lot, had a good OPS, made some definite strides, got himself all the way up to a 78 overall. He's obviously going to be much better versus lefties. Oscar Mercado, I don't see him in our long-term play. Oh, why did these guys get called up? I didn't even notice. Nicky Lopez. Okay, they didn't play. Oh, Palma did. Oh, okay, never mind. But Mercado, I don't see him sticking with the team much longer. This is going to be a longer episode. I wanted to go through the offseason and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll get to you when we get that far. All right, we're in the offseason. The Red Sox beat the Dodgers in the World Series for the 2nd year in a row. Brandon Phillips decided to call it a career. I probably wasn't going to bring him back, even though he did have a really good season down the stretch for us. CC Sabathia, that's definitely best. He dropped all the way to a 60 overall. Probably the worst acquisition we made. Some notables, Kobe Ellsbury called it a career. Albert Pujols, yeah, he should have probably retired 2 years ago. The Grandy Man, Curtis Granderson, Fernando Rodney, I thought he was a timeless classic. He's still a 70 overall. Robbie Cano, yikes. He can still hit, though. Rajai Davis, Irvin Santana, Jason Vargas. The Mets have a thing now for, Ryan Braun dipped hard, dang. The Mets have a thing, though, for getting players way past their prime. Alex Gordon. Yeah, good thing we got something out of him. He actually hit pretty well this year, though. Jorge De La Rosa, Ricky Nolasco, Mark Reynolds, Rich Hill. Retired with a 3rd straight World Series loss. That's got to be tough. Ichiro, Cano, and Pujols to the Hall. I'm not sure Cano's going to get to the Hall because of the obvious fact that he did technically take steroids, even though I think it was for stomach issues or something like that. Okay, so we're going to review the staff. I'll get back to you when I have offers in place because I'm pretty much canning this whole group. Maybe Jershell will stay, but that's it. So pretty much I went out there. I gave Joe Madden, who's the best manager out there, a big deal. Dave Magadan, the best hitting coach out there, a big deal. Rob Moyne. And, these guys, some decent deals. I'm waiting on first base coach. I thought I had someone I offered. Luis Ortiz. He had no negatives. We're the only offer on him. We'll probably get him. But we got to start this. Salary arbitration is picking up. Quite honestly, I think I'm just going to arbitrate Urania. Give him... I don't even think he's worth that much, honestly. We'll offer him that. Trey Mancini, I'm not going to offer him arbitration. I'd rather sign him to a long-term contract. He's obviously worth more than 6.7 a year. Any team sees that. 7.5 million a season over 5 years. Chaz Rowe, we'll offer him arbitration. Elias Diaz, he's 29 now? Jeez, okay. If we can get him for this little, that's a huge win for us, because we're going to offer Boyd arbitration. I feel like he's worth around 2.8. Offer Matt Gray 700K in ARB. Chesler Cuthbert. He was pretty good for us off the bench, but I could get much better bench options in free agency. He's really not that valuable to me either. I'm also probably going to go out there this offseason and in the Rule 5 draft get a couple guys. Oh, Jake Junis, yes. We're going to get him for 3.8 a year for 5 seasons. He is 27 now, but I feel like he is going to be a decent bottom of the rotation arm for us. He'll probably be a top guy for us next year, but I'd like Joe Jimenez. He's only 25. You notice I fill the interest bar. I could probably get him cheaper, but I'd like to lock him up instead of having them decline. Hoyt, I have no interest in re-signing. The first time he pitched for us, he allowed 3 runs and didn't get an out. He also struggles with his control. Nicky Lopez, I'm not going to go over all these. I'll tell you who I resign and don't resign after I'm done. Alright, so pretty much I went out there and I just re-signed all the top pieces that we needed. Jake Junis, blah, blah, blah. Carter Keyboom, got him 5 years. O'Hearn, they pretty much always usually accept these. David Hess I got for like $2 million a year for 5 years. This free agent class is looking kind of strong. Not super great. I'm just going to do some housekeeping. Release some guys like Jackson Flores, who quite truly will never play big league ball, just so we do have roster spots open. Clearly, he's not getting to the show. He just doesn't have the hit tool. Yeah, you can get out of here. All right, we've got 8 spots. Obviously, it's counting everyone on the roster. I know that, but we're heading into free agency. It's not a particularly strong year. Garrett Cole's coming off a pretty bad season. 4.39 ERA. His strikeout numbers are great. A little lower than prior years, but he wasn't that bad. His whip, it's weird because his whip is low. Win-loss was good. That ERA, though. Yasmani Grandal's always here, but he's always a bad hitter. Ooh. Marcelo Ozuna hit 42 home runs and drove in 136 this year. That's interesting. The Giants offer Bumgarner. How much do we have? Pending offer is 43. But I know we're supposed to have a lot of cash. We can up that and give Bumgarner only 15 a year, and he'll be the ace of our staff. But I'd also like to get him on 3 years. We'll offer 3 years 50 or 48. Just so we can still get on top of that offer. But I don't want him because I feel like he's 30 now. He's going to go down after a year or so. I'd like to have him, though. He'd be the ace of our staff. Him and Brad Keller would be huge together. So, yeah. I'm going to go through and offer players, and then I'll show you who I offered. All right. I really wasn't very happy with this free agent class. It wasn't very strong, and I had better players already at those positions. But here's who I offered. This guy, Johnny Ozuna, hasn't played in the big leagues, obviously. He's got decent stats. He could be a bench piece. And this guy, Joe Sherwood, who's going to come out of our bullpen this year, likely 6'5", 20 years old, 75 overall. I know those guys usually retire due to ability after a season. Even if they have a really strong year, they've got like deep potential, so they'll retire. But Jeremy Jeffress, we hopped right out in front of it. 2 year, 10.6. We offered him a closer role technically. The Brewers kind of offered him 2. He's coming off a decent season. He had good save numbers, but a high ERA. Also had a lot of walks. Bumgarner, on the other hand, is coming off a great year, which he was probably an all-star. Great strikeout season for him. Great ERA. But, yeah, we hopped out in front of that. I'm really happy with the offer we made him. It's more than what the Giants were willing to give. You know, he's also he'd be our opening day guy for sure. Garrett Cole into the Tigers. Interesting. Okay, we got our first base coach. We land the big fish, Madison Bumgarner. Let's go. That's a huge addition to the team. I think I don't know if Jeffress is big enough. We got Jeremy Jeffress too. This is awesome. We're going to probably take out of the rotation Jose Urania just because I do want to get rid of him. Keller's an 87 now, though, so that's going to be interesting. Anything on the Sherwood guy? We got Joe Sherwood. We got Johnny Ozuna, I'd assume, too. Julio, this guy's interesting. He's developing quite nicely. Who knows? But we are going to make a move. I'm going to see if I can find a deal. We haven't actually officially re-signed Urania yet. Marcell Ozuna to Texas. Anthony Rizzo to the Yankees for Tanaka and Britton. Seems like kind of an overpay for a 30-year-old. Alright, we're just going to sim a bit. Again, I would really like to participate in the Rule 5 draft. We're going to see if we win arbitration cases soon. Oh, Rule 5 draft. Okay. Adam Ottavino is going for Joe Adele. The Yankees are out here rebuilding, it looks like. Ottavino for Adele. If I knew I could make that trade, I would have. Oh, we got the 15th pick. Yeah. I saw Spencer Kiba when I was like, no, I thought it was Carter. 15th pick. Mike Marin. That's interesting. Ryan Schimpf. No, please don't take him from us. What I forget about this draft every time is that they have to stay on my big league team. So I'm going to actually pick Mike Marin. Because I feel like he'll pan out and do it decent. Really, I don't really care about the rest of the Rule 5 draft, to be honest. I usually get one pick and then I'm done. Mike, there's usually some interesting players in there. Jordan Hicks to the Blue Jays for Groshans and Pannone. I know Groshans is a potential, but I think Pannone's only a C. God, in MLB The Show in the offseason, the most wild trades always happen. Oh, I really did not pick him. Didn't pick you either. Okay. Alright, so trade talks. ARP is still not happened. Great, okay. Alright, so we won majority of our arbitration cases. God, Josh Hader lost his from the looks of it. He's only going to make $1 million this year. We're going to move Urania now. We're also going to throw in, where is he? Hunter Harvey. So I'll get back to you once I have a trade for Urania. Looks like there's some decent value there. Alright. Okay, so I found a pretty solid deal. So we're going to give up Urania, who's 28, a player that just was horrible for us last year. Hunter Harvey, who is 25 and a 64 overall, and Willie Calhoun, who is 25 and a 67 overall, and doesn't develop well, trust me. For Larry Monroe, 22, a potential 26 or 63 overall shortstop, and the Shohei Ohtani, coming off a disgustingly bad season. but he's got mad potential. And I feel, quite honestly, like he's a lefty, a righty, sorry, 25. I think this is a huge move for this team. He's very marketable too. Realistically, if the Royals could do that trade, they probably would. So we'll see what else goes on. I probably might make another trade, see who's left in free agency. But yeah, I'm really loving what we've done so far. So I was going through my starters and I realized we had 6 good starters, and I want David Hess in the rotation. I also noticed Matthew Boyd's 29, but he's a B potential, but his overall is still the same, and I'm kind of confused about that. So I'd like to move him while he does still have value. Quite honestly, if you look at his career, the dude has got a 4.81 career ERA. He's got decent strikeout numbers. He's just not that great. I mean, he's having a great year in real life. Let's be real. He's been off the hook for Detroit this year. I think he might be an all-star. I don't remember their rosters. They came out yesterday, but yeah, he just doesn't fit in this rotation. So I'd like to move him and see if there's anyone else I can. Yeah, I went out. If you notice, players that I signed that you probably recognize their name that you didn't see me sign. I just did that for depth. As you can see, Franz, the German sensation, already got great contact stats. But there are players I'd like to move. I think I'd like to move Nicky Lopez as well, because he does have value, and I don't see him in our long-term plans because Kieboom's starting at second this year. So I'll get back to you when I find an offer for them. Here's the deal I found. It's for Jose Leclerc. I really do like this trade because Leclerc is 26 and 89 overall, coming off 2, maybe 3 really. He hasn't been very bad in his big league career, let's say that. 42 saves last year. He'll obviously be our closer over Jeremy Jeffress, but I'd like to see if there's just a player I can acquire just for some depth at second base. Actually, we don't have bad second base depth, do we? Yeah, we'll be fine. Phil Gosselin. I found him in free agency. Like that bat, you know. But yeah, we're going to make this trade, get obviously a great closer, and yeah, we're almost ready for the next season. This might be the end of the episode. Just going to see if there's a couple more things I need to do. So this is the last thing we're doing this episode. We are going to see the rosters we are carrying into spring ball. First things first, what is this position that's open? Did not see that. That's the DH slot. That'll all be figured out soon. We're not doing lineups this episode. That's next episode. Brian O'Hearn's up to a 78. Mancini's at an 83. We acquired him when he was a 79. Hunter Dozier's at an 85. Mondesi is at an 88. Merrifield's still at an 87. Elias Diaz up to an 80. Carter Kieboom, 77. Mercado, he's still at the club. Won't be when it comes to the season. Want to trade him because he's not a good hitter. 75. In the rotation, Shohei's playing like an 85 if you just saw right here. But he's an 81 now, which is awesome. David Hess all the way up to a 76. Jake Junis is an 83. Brad Keller's down to an 84, which is odd. Bumgarner's up to a 90. Jose Leclerc's up to a 90. Jeffress up to an 85. We've got a bunch of random players in here. Joe Jimenez up to an 83. Yeah, that's about it. This is going to be an awesome season for us. We got a great team in place. We actually have a legitimate chance at pushing for the playoffs. If you saw our rotation, it's pretty good. Our lineup is going to be decent. There's obviously work to be done before the season. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a